Hey guys, so tomorrow we'll have a live stream with either on my channel or JD's, and we're going to go over and kind of review the debate that happened yesterday on Sunday, the 26th. It was basically the same, or pretty much the same premise that JD debated Jeffrey Phillips and Ali with. For this one, I find that it was kind of like they were just the vegans were using debate tactics. They're trying to play philosopher. It seems like they wanted to tie the premise and actually dissect the premise instead of having the premise as something pointing towards the discussion. Yeah, it's okay.
She's in the bed. She should be out for the count.
And the milk is in the
I've
fridge
already
if
given
needed.
it to her because I was having company.
Okay. Cool. Love you. See you soon. They were trying to do some mental gymnastics, asking like, is this a argument to hypocrisy? It's like, sure, you know what? If vegans are aware of the destructive nature of, let's say, soy, for example, and once they learn that the truth about soy, how it is distributed, and how it is very deceptive, the way that people make claims, and the way that they can do that is talking about calories and weight instead of individual soybeans that Garland Farms, JD was trying to say, listen, every single soybean is sucked of oil, and that oil goes to humans. The leftover garbage, okay, that they have nothing else to do with, that happens to weigh a lot more, is fed to the cows. So it's deceptive. Again, this is the soy saga. I mean, we've gone through, check this out. If I would have talked about the soy any longer, any more times, I probably would have started to lose subscribers. That's how much we talked about the damn soy. Literally. Videos. All of this damn stuff is right here, starting here. Episode 2. No, not this one, here. So the vegan debate, this was like a pre-show, then reviewing the debate between Ali, Jeffrey, and Garland Farms on the Crucible. So we have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have discussions here. 6, 7. It goes really long. And what I'd like to show you is, let me put this down here. Where did I put that? The vegan debate, perhaps? Sorry for the dead air time, guys. I'm just going to start this over. All right, so present screen, share screen. All right, I hope you see this slideshow. I think JD towards the end with Avi and stuff was getting tired. He was three hours into it. He was trying to bring up our world data, and they were kind of challenging him on this. Avi, and I think it was more Avi, saying, no, I don't believe you at all about how the soy is distributed. JD should have just kept on pushing forward. To be honest, this whole debate, when they started just trying to do a circular argument about the actual premise, to focus this on hypocrisy. Okay, yeah. If what JD is saying is true, then it does show hypocrisy. If vegans would continue after doing the math, or at least, continue as vegans, but at least spread accurate information. So we see here that direct human consumption, okay, oil is 13.2%. That's because there's a lot less oil in the soybean than there is of the rest of the roughage. You notice here soybeans processed to soy cake or feed. Another word for it is soy meal. So the poultry, the pigs, all of this category here, this animal feed, there might be more mass, but this is useless mass. This is not the cow stealing from humans. This is using the soybean to extract the valuable oil that they're killing us with, and then after making money, profit on the garbage by feeding it back to the cows. Yet, we don't have the manure from the livestock being sent back to the monocrops. Very little manure is used. It's all synthetic, fossil fuel driven. It's a process that requires fossil fuel and energy to extract these elements like nitrogen and phosphorus, potassium. So these are fossil fuels that are used instead of just using the manure. So the manure is stored in these areas, and they do produce, because we're not really using it and blending it into the soil, it creates actually more emissions. But the important part here is that the soybeans fed directly to the livestock is 7%. This is Our World data, which, by the way, we're using, in our opinion, a biased, privately owned website funded by Bill and Melinda Gates. And even with this, we can see that all of this is soybean, and it's processed after the extraction of the oil. We see also here the amount of the millions, hundreds and millions of tons of soybeans. You see, for some reason, they think it's funny that, Garland Farm wants to deal with soybeans. We're dealing with calories. Before we go into this, calories, okay, is not what feeds the population. It's half of what it is. You need calories, which offers energy, but you also need nutrients. And unfortunately, all of your corn, soy, rice, wheat, any of these grains, they do not have the nutrients besides maybe some potassium, a little non-heme iron. Not much is in there. So there's no nutrients. That's what I'm saying. There's no vitamin A that's absorbable in retinol form. You're missing a lot of the B vitamin complexes. Sure, vitamin C isn't a problem. D, there's no vitamin D2 or D3 in this. K2, there's no essential omega-3 fatty acids in this. So it's complete garbage. And we see that all of these soybeans, now we can go in how many tons, okay? This is a weight. So 300 million tons, okay? Vegan Gaze and Avi and everybody else, this is all processed vegetable oil, okay? It's all being used for soybean oil and a little bit for biofuel. These are processed animal feeds that are feeding back, and there's hardly any direct animal feed. It's minuscule. This is where we're getting the information. This data is sourced from the UN Food and Agricultural Organization. If you look over here, this is still from Our World data. This area over here, sorry about that. We see that the majority, meaning 77% of the world's soy, is fed to livestock for meat and dairy production. 7% is fed directly to animals as actual soybeans, but the remainder is first processed into soybean cake, leftovers from the soy oil. Soybean cake, sometimes referred to as soybean meal, that's a high protein feed made from the pressurization, the heat treatment, and the extraction process of soybeans. The oil is extracted from the soybeans to leave a protein-rich product. That protein-rich product is not a protein-rich product that we could eat and absorb. Okay, it's for cows. slideshow. You see over here, when you crush up a soybean, you get 80% cake and only 20% oil. Since soy cake is mostly used to feed animals, the majority of imported whole beans are being used for animal agriculture. Do you see the deception here? They're still claiming because of the literal weight, not the usefulness of it. They don't mention that we just sucked out all the soybean that we're making a fortune on, and that leftover we're making into like a soy meal cake, a feed for the cows. By the way, they're not even supposed to be eating that, but we're going to make money on that. We see here the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. We can see it doesn't say here, but it's Mr. Rouser is the founder on that. He has a nice close relationship with Bill Gates on Twitter. Bill Gates said that he's his favorite economist. So the owner of this privately owned, in our opinion, biased network, we believe that this is biased. We see the founder is Max Rouser, and he's an economist and philosopher. It's a philosopher. One of the funders we are pointing out is Bill and Melinda Gates. Bill, data nerds like me will enjoy this Planetary Money episode featuring one of my favorite economists, Max Rouser's tweet. Bill Gates refers to Max Rouser as one of his favorite economists. I could continue on and on. Here is kind of why we believe that there's a bias with Bill Gates, because he basically says that we should be eating synthetic, rich nations should be shifting entirely to synthetic beef. So he has skin in the game, and believe me, when he puts skin in the game, he makes money. Over here, this is from the American Soybean Association. Soybeans are almost never used, but they're almost never used whole, but are instead crushed to produce soybean meal and soybean oil. Expanding crush capacity provides additional place for farmers to sell their beans while providing more soybean meal and oil for domestic production. 85% of the soybeans are processed as soybean meal and oil. Soybean meal is commonly used in animal feed concentrates because it contains a large amount of protein. As a side note for the reader, generally it requires 3 kilograms of grain to produce 1 kilogram of pork meat. Now, again, what we are doing is we are feeding grains that are devoid of the essential nutrients. So just eating grains, besides processed grains, creating a carb source, there's no actual vitamins in it. So you have no vitamins, but you put this worthless, these worthless carbs and calories that enter the ruminant animal, are eaten and fermented by this huge microcosm of bacteria. The bacteria actually produce things like volatile fatty acids, as well as B12, as well as all of these nutrients that never existed. So it is a nutrient amplifier. Ruminant animals eat useless material, grass usually, and it's useless to humans. We don't seek sustenance from it. And from that, we're able to allow that cow to eat this useless stuff and produce nutrients that are found only in animal foods. So that's like really an important point. So anyways, JD has ample evidence. Towards the end, we definitely had Avi questioning, challenging. JD needs just to get organized with his material. He wasn't there to debate Avi and what is it? Something philosophy perspective or something like that. Again, tomorrow we're definitely going to go into much more detail on this. Let's go to her channel, check it out. So Nutrivore kind of posted this one over here, debating Garland Farms. It doesn't have, oh, this one, sorry, Nutrivore. He has like one that's about an hour and 15 minutes. I think he just dubbed and, videotaped his section while he was on there. I'm not sure, to my knowledge, I kind of jumped around. I didn't see any commentary. So it looks like the first part of this, I don't think that she's stopping very much. She lets it play, but then I guess the commentary begins around here. So let's stop it and let's listen a little bit to that.
Like, I would take a position if I was defending a proposition, but yeah, I just don't know what the problem is with asking for clarification.
Can I make a suggestion?
No, because what I'm going to do is, because you didn't answer the first question was given. Bye.
Semantics. I guess she thought that was funny. They just wanted to focus on simplifying the whole situation, I guess, and they kept on repeating hypocrisy, appeal to hypocrisy. I guess they can do like some hypocrisy fallacy. JD, just like he did in the first one, I guess Ali and Jeffrey were meeker, and JD was just able to present a lot of it. When they started playing the debate shenanigans, trying to question the actual premise and play philosophers instead of just being honest and saying, okay, what evidence do you have to make this claim? Where'd you get this evidence? Okay, that's where you're coming to a conclusion. This is my thoughts on it. It's not legitimate or stupidity like that. Let's watch this a little bit. Just before, it's not about numbers completely. That's a very superficial way of looking at the whole situation. If you have one animal that is in a slaughterhouse and he's slaughtered extremely quickly, I don't care how bad it's the nightmare slaughterhouses, they're still money driven. They're not torturing these animals. They just want to get through the product as quick as possible. So if you have one animal killed in a slaughterhouse and you have one field mice that is poisoned by rodenticide that can take, from what I've read, days to, perhaps 2 weeks of bleeding to death, the slow symptoms appearing and suffering, and then other animals that eat that anticoagulated warfarin-based rodenticide. If that next animal has, so there's multiple poisonings that can happen, and it's very slow. There's yes, unfortunately during harvest, but vegans kind of say, oh, crop deaths you're mentioning during harvest. Yes, some of them get sliced up. That is not the main thing. There's crop protection, which is basically flying bullets and shooting wild animals. JD has evidence of that. That is just a common occurrence. So the rodenticide, the poisoning, as well as the destructive nature of the mining and the synthetic production of fertilizers instead of the use of manure. JD should have, in my opinion, just let them talk, let them spin in circles, and just present the evidence. He did mention our world and data. He did have the evidence at the end. I think, like, Avi and stuff like that were just questioning him, and he was probably exhausted by 3 hours. But I just showed you the evidence about the soybean. So therefore, vegans, what we're trying to ask you is that we acknowledge that obviously there's death in the livestock industry, the chickens, all of that, the beef. We don't hide that fact. What we would like to reform in that is to return to rural ranchers that owned land, that gave the animals the most natural environment. And yes, natural is a word, and natural just means there were ruminant animals and they had a symbiotic relationship with the soil, and they produced certain methane and CO2 There's nothing wrong with the methane that turns into CO2 in water after about a decade. There's nothing wrong with the CO2. These ruminant animals have always just, filled the landscapes. We have to ask, like, why are we concerned with CO2 levels? Are we going to blame something that is a natural ecological cycle? This is a ruminant animal that builds the topsoil, that feeds off resources that are useless to humans. These are free resources. If we keep on following nature's cycle here, what we're going to be getting is richer and richer soil, as well as more nutrient heavy forage. And this is just a wonderful cycle of rebuilding the soil and having dominion over the animals, understanding that we can graze them. The death part is quite rapid. I think the unethical part would be certain farming, feedlot farming that have not existed for millennia. This is a structure that should be reformed, and big business and bureaucracy. Farmers simply should be able to collect the seeds from the previous season and just replant that, and just, it doesn't cost them anything. They become rich. I see milk farmers draining 30,000 liters of milk, yet I go to the grocery store and it's expensive because there's supply chain issues. That's another topic to debate. So I would say that if the vegans were ignorant and they did listen to JD, and JD would have been able to make a good point, they could have then, tried to dismantle that point, but they stuck to dismantling the premise itself instead of using that premise to catapult them into the conversation and to share the information. So they really didn't care. If I was a vegan and I cared about the animals, and I found out, like, oh crap, like there's still significant death in monocropping, we should think about that. We should talk about that. If you want to do veganism, that's fine. But you should be honest about the conversion rate of vitamin A to retinol, sometimes as low as 5%, at best 65%. The EPA, the DHA that they believe that they're getting within chia seeds and all of these hemp seeds, chia seeds. The ALA, the plant version of omega-3, there is converted almost no conversion. It's anywhere from around 1.8, 3.6. So you're at risk of, as well as being at risk for the omega-3 deficiencies. The only fats you guys can get is omega-6, and that'll really screw up your omega-6 6 to 3 ratio. Then after, we have to deal with vitamin D2 that you guys have, not vitamin D3 that's easily used by the body. We have vitamin K2 is an issue. There's some categories within MK2, MK7, MK4. MK4 and vitamin K2, unless you're going after fermented soybean, which is disgusting, you can get vitamin K2, but it's not MK4. So we can continue. What else? There might be issues with non-heme iron as opposed to heme iron. There's some mineral deficiencies that you're at risk also. I think zinc, iodine is also a issue for you guys. What else? So there is a lot of nutritional deficiencies that can occur, and the vegans have to stop talking about calories that are lost feeding livestock when those calories are producing nutrients that don't exist. They are really avoiding the nutrient topic. It's all about calories. It's all about weight. It doesn't matter if humans are using a very small percentage of these crops and that there's a lot of leftover garbage, and they just happen to keep feeding these freaking cows that. That's why you build a livestock industry and want to make money off of them by feeding them the leftover garbage and make money with that garbage after there's various extractions for the benefit of humans. And then you could turn around and criticize that and talk about all the calories that are lost, when in reality it's such a simple fix. It's like, no, we have the land, turn that into grazing, and let's build the topsoil. It's a very simple fix. They don't want to hear solutions. They are intellectually, as JD often says, dishonest. They don't want to know the truth. I guess they hang around with what is that guy? Think About It or something like that. I've seen him debate Primal Edge Health Christian, and it's the same shenanigans, just like philosophizing and saying, well, that's an appeal, and this is a straw man. And it's like, JD's very simple. Here's the evidence. People don't know about it. I want to talk about it. JD should have pushed right through all of this bull crap. He should have just continued presenting his information. What happened is they got into a circular loop about this word hypocrisy. Sorry, guys.
Oh, what a
vegan
ding dong.
now.
Jesus fucking Christ. You can't.
Yeah, of course, they're always vulgar, right? Jesus fucking Christ. Wonderful. You got a potty mouth. I swore once, and I felt horrible. Anyways, this is she said that it was about 2 or 3 in the morning where she lives when the debate ended. It was anywhere between 2 or 3 in the morning. Yet she ends up doing a post-debate after party to celebrate their victory, I guess. And I guess she continued till 7 a.m. in the morning or something, because there's 3 more hours here. She must have been very upset. She needed some self-soothing.
See me
Let's
right
listen
now.
to what she has to say.
Let me just deal with that. Fucking hell.
Fucking hell and
What
Jesus
an
Christ.
absolute dodging. Oh, I'm gone again. Am I flipped? Looks weird that way. Holy shit.
Holy shit. Jesus
So,
fucking Christ.
oh my god, I'm going to turn on.
I got it now. Say it, spit it out, you can do it.
I'm going to turn on the TTS. Jesus Christ.
More swearing.
Appreciate it. R.I.P. your sleep.
I'll play these in just a second. I just want to clarify. So what they've done is, because Nick is from the...
Just for an example, like Chase Aviar. Beef requires 36 times more land than peas. Are you going to live on peas? Do you want to look at the nutritional value of a frickin' pea, dude? Because don't compare a cow that offers meat, organ meat, fat, all the fat-soluble vitamins, appropriate proteins, omega-3 and 6 in appropriate ratios. If you eat the cow, nose to tail, liver included, you get vitamin C. So let's look what a pea has. The nutritional value of a pea. Let's look for this. Does it give the nutrients? Peas provide many vitamins and minerals, including vitamin C, vitamin K1, not K2, vitamin A, that's not true. It's not retinol. It's a provitamin, a precursor, and that's beta carotene, and it's between 6 and 5 and 65% absorption. The iron is non-heme. It is not well absorbed. Soy. Let's choose this, I guess. It's probably a bias site. Look at Dr. Greger's propaganda. What is it? Nutritionaldata.org or something. Soybean can add a number of micronutrients to your daily intake. The beans are rich in potassium, folate, magnesium. So where's the vitamin A? Where's all the B complexes? Where is, forget about the C, D, where's D2 even? Where is the omega-3 that is essential? What about the benefits of mono unsaturated fats? Do you guys think that fat, like every single fat, is bad? Even though we have a gallbladder that's used to digest fat? We're not going to get into the stupidity that you guys... at the end, your community started talking that a cow doesn't have a cecum.
Ask yourself crew, they've just assumed he's going to be slippery. That's what they've done. They've just assumed, oh my God, you're ask yourself crew, you're going to be slippery. So they've brought someone else and been slippery themselves without the understanding. And then they've played a game for an hour plus to not actually have the debate. They knew, they said, we know how this is going to go. They knew where it was going to go in their minds.
There was a guy named Jimbo or Jim Bob, and Andrew took it upon himself to add Jim Bob. I found him a couple of moments. He was a little bit immature and stuff like that. Imitating her British accent. I was like, man, don't do that. JD did not need his help. The guy added some good points, but JD could have handled this all by himself. But I mean, Jim Bob was invited, so he came along. So there's no problem with that. But Andrew didn't have to invite anybody. They're trying to play philosophers over here, and JD is, a no bullcrap kind of person. It's like, look, I want to present, these are the claims by the vegans. These two, Nutrivore as well as Vegan Gays, did not want to defend their position. They were like, no, you have a position. We're not going to explain our position. And we are going to what? Devil's advocate, try and pick apart his premise. It's like, what is your position? If JD is saying that the plant agriculture creates just more destruction, more pain than the livestock, and they should have the position, no, that is not accurate, and the JD should have been allowed to present the information, and they could have dealt with it, and like usual, probably just refute it. But they were talking about the soybean Avi at the end, and they were shouting, no, I don't believe those statistics. It's too bad that Garland, and it's too bad during these debates that they can't screen share. I'm not sure why. It would be so much better for the audience if they would be able to look at what they're showing, like screen share it. But the most important that we have to realize is that, and I brought this up and I probably stopped in the middle of the idea. It's that it's not only about the number of animals killed in livestock compared to the number of wild animals that get killed. It's also about the degree of suffering. So that's hard to to create a scale of the degree of suffering. But there's one thing that we can quantify, and that's the duration. Okay, from the time of the whatever is inflicted, whether it's a gunshot, whether it's a anticoagulant, pesticide, or deterrent. Then after we look and we say, oh wow, look at all those cows. They were killed within seconds. And then, oh, look at these pigs that got shot, by a four-wheeler dude spraying bullets. Look at the one, how long it takes for animals to die from the anticoagulants. Look at the ones that eat those animals and that also have a slow, painful death. So what about the duration? Because it seems like all of these animals that are getting killed during monocropping, seems like they don't seem to be important. And so I would go as far as to say, perhaps we don't have the numbers, but we can look and acknowledge that those animals that do die and suffer in the monocrop industry suffer a longer death period. Therefore, each second more than the couple of seconds that we get in livestock industry, each second should, if there's like 1.2 million seconds more than this cow, that is 1.2 million times more suffering, because we can't quantify the degree, but we can quantify the duration. And these are new ideas that are being presented to the vegans, and they don't like it. They don't have an answer. They're being caught off guard. So it's quite interesting. So always remember, guys, that when we're looking at the degree of suffering, it is not only about numbers, but it is about the symptoms, the process of dying, what is felt from a cow arriving, either with these immediate bolts that knock them out immediately. It's quick and mostly painless if you compare to being shot in the field by a farmer. And the other aspects of poisoning, displacement, and blaming all of the runoff from monocrops creating death in certain oceanic areas.
So what I believe they've done is they've spent that entire...
You guys are... Stop swearing. I'm glad that you're a lesbian.
Both held strong on making them own their positive claim. But, of course, they couldn't do that because there's nothing to substantiate it. R.I.P. your sleep.
Thank you so much, Vechi Taneki. That is... Yeah, they don't have anything to substantiate, and I think they knew that. But I've just been invited to... Can we get some satellites of this?
JD had something to substantiate. He was going to set clear all of the monocrops that are being used, where they're being used, how they're being distributed, what the animals are actually being fed. And he would have went into more details because he has the information and he can show where he's gotten it, the destructive nature of these fossil fuel driven synthetic nutrients. The manure has everything. So they're going to mine phosphorus, but then they're going to genetically modify the pig because the two produce less phosphorus. There is something extremely weird where the manure is being shunned instead of having this reciprocal. It shouldn't even be reciprocal. They shouldn't even be trying to make money with the cattle with these feeds. They should be making money selling the manure into the fields. And as JD pointed out, a lot of vegans object to organic farming because they feel that you're taking advantage of the cow, collecting the manure. They're actually, Joey Carbstrong is prominent vegan degenerate, and it's the exact same thing. He's like, no, support the synthetic fossil fuel driven ones. They basically don't want to save the ruminant animals. They just want to stop allowing them to live. Like they're like, there's no point to these ruminant animals. Stop breeding them. Just let them die out. Not all vegans are like that, but some are that crazy. And let's look at, let's not forget that we're going to look together with JD. Don't forget that Nutrivore showed what kind of person he was when Garland found that comment that he made about we are basically murderers. We should be thrown in jail and force-fed vegetables. That's basically what he thinks. So he's pretty much a fanatic. I watched a little bit Nutrivore commenting in the comments on some stupid debate about feeding obligate carnivores such as kitty cats a vegan diet. I heard one idiot actually say, well, yeah, but you know, they're carnivores, so they're not going to get all the nutrients that they require. And they said we can give the cat a supplement. I'm not joking. This is basically what's going on in their community. It's quite interesting.
The chat, Jesus Christ.
God, she's really foul mouth. That's all that's coming out of her. Nothing else.
But I guess the other thing you could have said, like, in what way is it arbitrary? I don't know if you asked that specifically. Or...
Hello, darling. Hi. Spring to
Yeah, that was fucking
But
crazy.
I wanted to kill myself
Like,
the entire time.
Garland is such a dishonest piece of shit.
Yeah, I was just...
You hear that, Garland? You're a dishonest piece of crap. Even though the start of this video, I just showed you what he was telling you about the soybean. You guys obviously missed the whole saga of the soy 2023. I spoke 7 freaking videos on the soy subject. This time Garland Farms was able to give the statistics verbally. But again, I really don't like the fact that we can't pop up and share screen, because what I just popped up at the start would have shut them up pretty quick.
I was just saying to my chat that I think because Andrew said we know where this is going to go, I think they thought, what can we do to just not address the fucking line of questioning? Like,
well, Andrew was a fucking cunt because he's not even a moderator. Like he was clearly taking sides. He was a shit.
Yeah. No, Andrew's like everybody on the Crucible is like a shitty moderator and a shitty debater. Like that's why I don't.
Then choose someplace else. That's not a problem. JD was very clear with the statement, saying that there's actually more cruelty and more death in the monocropping industry that puts food on the vegan table. He was there, and he was there to defend it. They were there to literally analyze the premise itself without just reading the premise and going on from there. The premise is a sign pointing to further discussion on it. Not questioning, well, what exactly is the meaning? Well, what's a woman? A woman's anybody who identifies as a woman. But what are they identifying as? A woman. So there's no definition. And I think that's the vagueness that they wanted to create. Again, yes, it is very hypocritical if you would listen to JD and get all the information and verify if it's true or not, because if you verify the alarm that JD is sounding and you're very honest about the animals and you look into the research yourself deeply, that's how it should have went. But you guys spun it around, and to be honest, I don't know why JD continued. I would have just railroaded with the information right over you. You guys could have repeated over and over hypocrisy. It's like, yeah, JD was saying, no, actually, it's not hypocrisy. It's ignorance. He's trying to say that you guys are unaware and ignorant of the facts that he wanted to present. but he wasn't able this time to present it as easily.
Don't associate with them because they're completely uninteresting to me.
I'm sorry. Do you know I'm streaming, by the way? I feel like I should have said that.
Oh no, it's all good. I don't care if any of this is public.
Okay, cool.
I mean, I think pretty much everybody on that platform is a gibberish generator. That's my honest opinion.
So they think that Garland is woefully stupid. Somebody's asking, why did you even agree to debate him? Then he says, he's calling you names now. You can't be smart if you're a farmer. Okay. I guess farmers are idiots, right?
Yeah. Okay.
E.g. the lad tipped £3. That's the covering for vegan gains tonight.
I got a recording of that for my channel at least.
Did you record? By any chance, did you record your backstage conversation with Andrew?
I sure did.
Oh,
excellent.
thank God you did, because I
Yeah.
wasn't live yet. I made the mistake of assuming that they weren't going to come to. Oh my
No.
goodness.
because it was like it's if you have that recording, then you just basically have proof that fucking Garland didn't pull you up in the misconception.
They swear a lot. There's a lot of fucks going on. People don't like articulate. Hey, like I said, that one time I got really mad and I said an F-bomb. And I felt bad. I called myself out on it. There's no need to use foul language. It doesn't make you sound smarter. You're not a teenager.
Intentionally just let it slide.
Yeah, Andrew also signed off on Garland having the burden of proof, and he also simultaneously signed on, got kind of pissy with us for pressing.
Astral Zenith says, you and Nutrivore were so effing bad and not knowing how to make the convo go. They were so wrong. For the love of God, please don't sit high on the horse. You had such an easy layup. It's 330. It's 3:30 in the UK. He said AY and Avi was his friend. Doubt it. LOL.
Garland about his burden of proof, so it was really weird.
And I don't know who was saying it in the private chat, but someone was saying, just answer Garland, just say yes or no.
Yeah, I think whoever was there, they understood that Garland was being kind of slippery.
Garland answered. He said that this isn't based on hypocrisy; it's based on ignorance. First, so he's saying you guys don't know what he wants to show you. But then once you know it, then it becomes hypocritical.
And then they were
Wait,
like,
Avi's going on the Crucible? Sorry.
oh, what now?
No, Dillo's saying that Avi is going on the Crucible?
Like now?
I don't know.
I challenged everyone there to post physique and they blocked me and put me in timeout.
Wait,
I love you.
he's going on right now?
No way.
Holy
Can
shit.
someone stream it?
Garland is too dumb to be effing slippery. First of all, I know for a fact because we're on the phone most of the day. Well, on the phone most of the day. Called him a few times, JD. We had no idea. He had no idea about Jim Bob. He didn't need Jim Bob. It's funny that Jim Bob showed up, but JD was able to handle himself. He would not have fallen into these philosopher debate tactics. He's very simple. This is the evidence. It's not being acknowledged. Here's the distribution. Here's the facts. And here's what you guys keep saying. And you guys are dishonest.
Holy
Like,
fuck.
to the
Yeah.
PC?
Holy fuck.
We need this.
I think Ask Yourself and Avi were probably watching this stuff together in a private stream or something.
Ask yourself, this is exactly the same kind of garbage that I've seen. I saw Ask Yourself get slaughtered, get totally humiliated when it used to be Primal Edge Health, Tristan Haggard. And then he was obsessed about wanting to re-debate him. It was really weird. Go see Ask Yourself's YouTube.
Oh, nice. I would love to see fucking Avi debate it. It would probably end the same way, though.
The burden of proof switching is terrible. And I'm so bloody obvious the guy in blue. Jim Bob, it's so obvious.
I know.
Jim Bob is a fucking slimy cunt.
And the way they were like, everyone can see what you're doing, and then called us gaslighters, it's like tactic.
Yeah, it's he was brought in. I think he was going for a straight with Garland. He was brought in for interference.
Yeah.
I don't think he knew what the fuck he was talking about.
And just to be clear, like, just, yeah, never, like, literally,
How
there is
do
a
you
thread
enter-
in, like, my Penguin Zero video, and I screenshotted it. Garland said, I don't need a debate partner. Like, it was in my fucking own, like, to say, oh, he
Andrew decided to do that. Whatever. I don't think that he should have. I think that Jim Bob didn't say anything wrong at all, but really there was nothing to add. He didn't add anything to the plate. Garland Farms made the premise. They started to want to deconstruct the premise instead of allowing the premise to be a signpost towards the discussion. They didn't look at any of the evidence. He barely, this whole debate, at least the other debate, he was able to get through the soy. This one, it was completely stalled. And they gaslight. It's almost like, you enter the bedroom and your girlfriend is getting laid by a dude, and you're like, you're cheating on me. And she turns around and she's like, no. It's like, yeah, you are. I can see you. No. That's pretty much it. They're like all acting shocked, like, you guys are supposed to be vegans, and you're supposed to defend the vegan side. What did you wanted to not show your side so that we could not question it, and you just wanted to know JD's side, and then after you just wanted to sit there, not even saying what your side was and deconstruct that. That's like philosophy class. You were not interested, like, okay, like show us the evidence. How are you coming to this conclusion?
he said he didn't want one just to explain the difference
Yeah,
in
he
the
wasn't going to play into your game. He wasn't going to. It's like, that's the premise. You agreed on it. Let's go. I just started recording. Garland Logic just want to kill more plants and be more vegan. Okay.
opponent numbers. And then Andrew was like smirking and was like, look who I brought in. This is like cringe.
Fucking Andrew asking Nick about
Because you both came in not knowing the premise and then trying to deconstruct the premise, and Garland Farms a couple of times repeated the premise, and that's pretty much all that happened for 2 hours.
like hypothetically, if it was an argument from hypocrisy, like is that the fucking proposition or is it not? Like, is that the argument you're making, or are you just gonna fucking talk about hypotheticals all the time?
Fucking crazy. Like, just, it's 3:30 in the morning.
Like sometimes if I want to go easy on somebody, I'll say to like I'll let them do that. Like if you notice, I did that with Joey, where he's like, "Well, what would you say if I went down?"
All right, so tomorrow we'll do a live stream, guys. I'm not going to push this very long. Showed the soy saga, the information there. And I guess that's it, eh? So tomorrow, probably on Garland Farms channel, we'll deconstruct this stupidity. There's a lot to deconstruct. Are we going to go through the actual debate? Are we going to go through the response video that Vegan Gays put, coming up with excuses? Guys, I thought that Jeffrey Phillips and Ali was one of the most pathetic vegan debates, where they got totally leveled. They don't want to admit that, but we have examples like Vegan X that went there and was like, you guys, this was the worst vegan debate. You were not ready, blah, blah, blah. These two people arrived the same way. They didn't have, good intentions to have a good discussion. They were trying to look at very technical things just to paralyze the conversation. And it was quite obvious to everyone. And it was quite laughable. All right, guys. See you soon.